We are Hubdrive. Our vision is to empower people and organizations in HR management.
Hello and welcome everybody to our webinar Time and Attendance in Dynamics 365. I'm very excited that you are with us today. My name is Michael Dill. I'm your host for the next 30 minutes, but I will be joined by our expert Nina Raposo, and I will hand over to her soon and she will introduce herself as well. If you like, you can see my contact data. Feel free to contact me, to connect with me, and we are LinkedIn. At the end, you will receive this video from the video from the webinar, so you do not have to write everything down right now. So you will receive everything afterwards. Okay, then as we only have 30 minutes, let's directly have a look at our agenda, what we are going to do. After this warm welcome, I will shortly go through a little introduction to time and attendance. We will look at some law regulations, some expectations that gives a framework for you as an employer, but also for us as a software producer. So we will see at those basic requirements, and then I will hand over to my colleague Nina, and as an expert, she will go through our solution. She will show you the benefits of our solution, the benefits within time and attendance, within our time and attendance model, so that you can have a first overview of how work with our system could look like, how it work for you could look like, and what benefits you take out of that, and what maybe next steps you can take out of that. That's the goal of our webinar, right? So at the end, after the walkthrough, we will have a question and answer session. You can ask your questions all the time via the chat. Don't hesitate, you can write all the time. As soon as you have a question coming up, we will answer them at the end. So then let's begin with the introduction to time and attendance. Of course, we know, or first of all, let's look at those 3 points I'd like to talk about: the law regulations, the multiple ways of time tracking, and the requirements and demands to that, and time and attendance in Microsoft Teams, because of course this is something special we can offer. This is something that is very interesting for you. I will talk about that in theory, but I guess it's very exciting for you to see that later on in the walkthrough, when Nina will show you how it will look like in Teams and how seamlessly everything is integrated. That's very great. But first, let's take a look at our law regulations. It's no surprise to you, and everybody knows that legislation regulates rights and obligation of employers and of course of employees as well. And in Europe, for example, the European Court of Justice is doing that. When there are laws such we had the last time in 2019 that said that documentation of time is mandatory for all countries within the European Union, then it's also something that is taken over by other countries, for example, UK as well, because the laws from Europe are always, also Switzerland, always follows more or less what the European Court says, and produces laws according to that. So in many countries, we do have the obligation to do that time tracking, so it's mandatory. But you should not also see it. You should not see it only as a duty, but as we like to call it, also a chance, because this is a chance for you to digitize your HR processes. And this is, and our mission is to show you the benefits of HR management in a digital world. Yeah, so because you can connect and simplify processes, you can increase your productivity, you can save nerves, you can save time and cost, of course, and you will have satisfied employees for sure, because for them those processes are easier than before, than without such an HR tool, such an HR software. That's what we can offer. And then we're coming to our next point, because that's what we are offering, that's what people are demanding. So what are the ways of time trackings when it's mandatory, and what should be the ways? On the one hand, what are the ways in our software, and what is that what people are expecting, applicants are expecting, or your employees are expecting? Since the COVID pandemic hit us, I think it's everybody knows then when it comes to remote work, how important it is to clock in and clock out virtually. So this is something you have to offer. When as employer you have to offer your staff, because so many people are working remote that they have to have the chance to do everything virtually, and we can do that in our software. That we have a virtual time clock. Nina will show that, and you can clock in and clock out virtually. You can also clock in and clock out manually. That's what you see on the right side, because you have to combine that. You have industries, for example, when you have workers that do not have access to a PC or something, they do have to clock in manually. So you have to combine those systems that they work seamlessly together, and that is what our system can do, and what we can provide for that. You also have to have digital flexibility, because people are traveling, not as much as before the pandemic maybe, but they're still traveling and they have to visit customers, for example. And it's very important that you have the flexibility. For example, if you have an invoice, to directly make a photo with your smartphone and then send it directly into the system, or for example, when you have the possibility also to look at your from your mobile phone at your calendar, if you want to book, or if you're sitting or thinking about booking a journey and you're in a travel agency, you could directly look up everything and directly also make a draft and say, hey, I want to have a vacation for this and this date, and you can do that directly and wherever you are. This is something that is very important to employees, and that is something we can offer, because we think everybody should have the possibility of maximum of flexibility at this point. So where you can reach us, you can also reach us, or where you can use and can step into our system is via the browser. You can use apps, you can use your mobile phone, so you can have different ways to do so. Now we can go to the another slide, no problem, thank you. And this is how, for example, it would look like in Teams, because of course it's very very comfortable for you when you're working with Teams already. Also, COVID and the pandemic situation has helped Teams to be one of the standard when it comes to video chat, but not only to video chat, also for your day-to-day business. When you when you're working in your team, you can many people do that with Teams, so it's very easy to use our system because it's fully integrated and can be fully integrated in Teams, as it is integrated in the Dynamics platform. We managed to integrate that in Teams, so every thing is in the environment people know. We'll have a look to that later. You see on the left side, you have a screenshot of the virtual time clock. In the middle, you can see the attendances of the week, for example. We also can see that. So this is everything. You can look at those stats. You can look and everything in Teams directly. You can also send a leave request. That's what on the right bottom side. You can do that also in Teams, and that's the perfect moment for me to hand over to my colleague Nina Raposo, because she will show you the solutions. She will show you the time and attendance module, and yeah, Nina, have fun.
Thank you, Michael. My name is Nina Raposo. I am one of the sales managers here for the North American market at Hubdrive. You can see my contact information right here, also my LinkedIn. So we are always happy for you to reach out and connect, as well as any questions that you have today. You can, of course, put them in the chat at any time. So now we are going to go live into the system. We start off here with our virtual time clock. You can see here on the left, right now our employee is clocked in. Therefore, all of the other fields were grayed out because this system is intelligent and it knows that the only possibilities now that the employee is clocked in is to start a break or to end work. I'll say a little bit more about this screen before I clock him out so that you can see how the system updates live. First, here on this part of the screen, you will see the timestamps, when the person arrived, all of the breaks they took, and the exact time. Underneath this would be the weekly overview for each week and how many hours were worked, as well as the next screen will give you a daily summary for each day of the week, including the hours worked, as well as the breaks, and if applicable, the mandatory breaks as well. Now down here, you see a visual representation of the hours worked. So you would have by each day, the time worked as well as the breaks highlighted here in orange. Of course, this is how we have set up the screen for you, default out of the box, but you could change this as you prefer, depending on what data is important to you. So if your employee comes to the computer at work, they will see this. If they use this at home, it will look the same, as well as in Teams, anywhere they clock in, even from their mobile device. As you can see, we are in the browser right now, but it would look exactly the same. As Michael mentioned, you can also use a classic analog timestamp clock in a token. So you could clock in on your time clock and then clock out here and vice versa. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on End Work so you see what happens next. I click on End Work and you will see that 2 items are updated right away. The system clocks out the worker right now and it will add a new timestamp here, which will be the next line, as well as you will see a graph coming up here, down here in blue, counting the hours visually of the employee. As you can see, I didn't have to even refresh the page, and you can now see they have been at work for an hour and a half, as well as the timestamp right here. This is what it would look like before you clock in. So again, the system is intelligent, so it knows that the person has clocked out. There's only 4 options: starting work, starting remote work, starting offsite work, or starting to travel. The next thing I'd like to show you is the supervisor dashboard. So it will look a little bit different for the supervisor than the employee. So I'm going to just switch the tab up here. I have prepared this. And as you can see, there's some data in here. Now I'm just going to go ahead and refresh this because we have just added this new timestamp, 11:14, which is the local time here in Central Europe. So you can see that a supervisor would have an account of all the active attendance right here on the dashboard. This is again the default dashboard we have put here out of the box, but of course you can change to whichever you prefer. Now, if you have a lot of employees and this list goes on and on, it's kind of hard to keep track of them because sometimes people forget to clock out. Because of this, we have added an additional screen over here on the right. It is called Active Attendance with Correction Required. So instead of scrolling through all of your employees, the system recognizes and takes your attention to some items that might require your attention. So you can see that right here, it's put right in front of you. You don't have to go searching through a long list, and you can take care of it right there. We've also put 3 more items down here. One of them is the leave requests that are pending, as well as the leave summary for your team and the sick leaves. You can see as I'm hovering over these items that this little pop-up comes here and everything is highlighted in these different colors. So we've used a bar chart here, but you could also display this in any other way that you prefer, and you can also drill down on this. So this is what the supervisor dashboard and time and attendance would look like. When we come back here to the virtual time clock dashboard that has the virtual time clock and these items that are already explained, you come over here on the left and you can see that this module is pretty extensive. We'll only be looking at a couple of things today. So first we have our daily summaries here, which is 1 day. There's even a little 1 right here. And there's a little 7 right here because the timesheets are weekly summaries. And then you have your time summaries, which are for the calendar months. I'm going to go ahead and open this up so we can have a closer look at this. So for each month, you have 1 line. And you see up here that you can immediately export this data to Excel. You can also, if you already have some data you would like to import in the system and work with in the system, you can also go ahead and import your data from Excel, all of your hours that are previously recorded. You can also have Excel templates that you can make yourself or use some of the default templates to work with your data just as you need it. This can be used to send your hours directly to payroll preparation. I'm going to go ahead and open up this first line just to show you what you would see in the summary, in the time summary right here. So here you can see, first of all, you see here the employee's name highlighted in blue because this is actually hyperlinked. The whole system is connected, so you can always jump from one thing to another. This will have your start and end date, the month, and the year. On the right side, you will see allocated hours, attended hours, approved hours, working hours, and overtime. So everything is right here, and this could be exported even as a PDF or, like I said, into Excel directly to other programs as well for your payroll preparation. I'm just going to go ahead and close this one up, as well as the supervisor dashboard, taking us back to the virtual time clock. And now I know you are waiting for me to show you what this looks like in Teams. So I will bring the screen that I have prepared right over here. I'm using this right now in the browser. So this is Teams, Microsoft.com. If you're using it in the app, that works just as well. But if you happen to be off-site, maybe you are in a hotel and you have internet access, but they do not have the Teams app installed, you can also use your credentials and just simply log into any browser that you like, as well as your mobile phone. So over here on the left, you see this is our solution, and this is what it would look like in Teams. So you can see that it looks exactly the same. You jump straight from your chat right there. You got your chat, you got your meetings right here, everything that you're using day-to-day business, and you don't have to leave the app. You don't have to keep switching apps and being distracted. You can just go right in here, and you will find everything looking and functioning exactly the same as in our app. So I'm just going to go ahead and make this a little bigger so you can see it better. And we'll show you right now how to put a leave request, for example, from directly from Teams. So I'm just going to click on leave request right here. That's just going to open that up. As you can see, the same thing. Everything can export to Excel. You can also, this is the Power BI, you can always visualize this view. If If you want to use the analytics tool in Microsoft Teams, especially this is great for managers. Now up here, you see the little news thing, so I'll just click on that. If you are using Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Platform, this might look familiar to you already because you have the standard look and feel of your app that you are used to, including this business process bar right here. Now, the first item, we're in the enter leave stage right now. The first item is going to be putting in the type of leave. Depending on what type of leaves you give your employees, you can, of course, set this up just to your needs. It could be vacation. It could be anything you like, really. The solution is completely customizable. We'll put in a request here. Let's do it for March 1st of this year. We'll just do 1 day. You could make it a half a day right here by just sliding this over. But just to keep it simple, let's just do 1 day. You could make a comment right here. And then you just go ahead and save it as a draft. Once you've done this, you will see that this whole screen changes, and it will give you some additional information that you might need in planning your paid time off. Down here, you're going to see how many days. Once it loads, you're going to see how many days of vacation you have remaining this year, as well as last year, if you have this carrying over. And now we can go ahead and make sure that everything is correct. This is the day that the employee wants off. And as soon as you have verified that this looks good, you can also see the absence calendar here on the right. As soon as you have submitted it, put it into drafts. This is the day we are trying to request off. We can see the other people here on the team. We see that usually people have Saturdays and Sundays off. We also see these people have some other schedules, but we cannot see for privacy reasons if they're on vacation or maybe they're having a sick day. We don't know. We just see our own day. So we're going to submit this. There we go. And now it's just going to be saving. And you can always see with these business process flows, which I think is pretty neat, you can see like this one is active for 1 minute. So later when we look at the supervisor view, he or she will also know like how long this has been kind of sitting there. And we also see that this has now moved over to the approval stage. So this is when the supervisor needs to start becoming active. We got the supervisor right here. We're also using the teams. So they can do this from anywhere. We will have to refresh this. And we'll sort it from new to, we will resort this right here, the newer ones, because I put it in for March 1st, 2023. There it is. Okay, just showed up. Okay, so here we go. The supervisor would just go in, click on the new leave request, would also see that in their dashboard, of course. So you never miss anything because the system just lets you know when there's time to pay attention to something that you need to become active. All right, and the supervisor sees as a similar view the absence calendar. He or she can check who else is here, if this is feasible to take a day off on that day, which days, how many vacation days are left down here, and we are in the approval stage, so we can just go ahead and make a decision right here. We'll just go ahead and give Paul the day off, click submit. And just like that, Paul was granted a day off vacation from his allotted time directly in Teams. So if I went back to the app, it's of course automatically updated in there because it just goes across all of the systems. So it's going to be in the mobile app if you open it in the app, whichever browser, as well as Teams. There you go. It's refreshing right now, so it's going to deduct that day, and just like that, we are done. And it also says approved right here. So this will end the live part of our presentation, and I believe we have a couple of questions. But first, I want to take a couple more minutes of your time to tell you about some of the time and attendance module highlights. First of all, we have a complete solution for time and attendance, including counting the absence and vacation days, which we have included for you. It has integrated time control functions. You can put in you can put in the requirements, how many hours, allocated hours for each employee. We have time account and overtime hours, so you can keep track. You can have it's like a bank account, but it's with hours instead of money. So you can count the minutes, you could count by hours, and you can set that up exactly yourself, as well as thresholds, just as you need it to work. You also, as I showed you, the supervisor dashboard, it has current employee attendance, and it's a real-time dashboard. So as soon as somebody clocks in or out, this will update, and you can always exactly see who is on the office, who is on break, who is on site, just in one overview dashboard. You have the daily, weekly, monthly, and annual overviews, which all of them you can export it to Excel. You can work with your data there. You can run analytics on there. You could use Power BI. You can transfer directly your times and hours to your payroll software or to your accountant. You have the option to automatically book out, including information, sending the information to supervisors. So when there is that's what I was talking about earlier, like if there's a correction required, or if there's a compliance issue, like for example, I am in Germany, I'm only allowed to work 10 hours a day in my region. And I do have to admit, I do sometimes forget to clock out at night. But the system, after 10 hours, it will just automatically clock me out, and it will let my supervisor know that there's a correction required. And we also have another highlight, which is the integration of Teams Shift for easy shift planning if you have people working on different shifts. Now we will take your questions and answer them. We also have somebody from our product management joining us today in case we need additional expertise to answer any and all of your questions today. So we'll have some time set aside for that right now.
Yeah, thank you, Nina, very much for this walkthrough. I think it was. I think you can see how our solution opens the door to digitization, and how you can benefit from that because it's easy integrated, as Nina showed, and the processes are really combined, and that's great to work with. So let's have a look at our questions. For Steve, which benefits has the time and attendance solution for employees that work remote in home office? I can answer that as well. The benefits are that you are able to clock in and clock out in the home office, first of all, and that you can use your environment as you're used to. It doesn't matter whether you're working from home or whether you're in the company, so you have still the same environment, the same access, so you can use everything you're used to. Gina was asking who can make time adjustments to an employee, the supervisor, or just someone from HR. As I'm a manager as well, I can answer that quickly. It depends on you how you want to set up that, but we do it like that the supervisor and somebody from HR are able to access the data and to adjust the data. Luis is asking, are there interfaces to manual time clocks? Of course there are, as Nina, or as I showed you beforehand. We do work together with two manual time clocks versions, so that we can use that. It's Datafox and Domag Harbor, so we can work with those two systems. We in our company we also do have 2 virtual time clocks at the entrances, so not virtual time clocks, manual time clocks, of course, so we can work with them, no problem. Peter's asking how will the supervisor be notified about a leave request? Quite easy, as Nina mentioned. You will get an email, for example, in the system. That's also because our systems are so very well integrated into the Microsoft universe. And you could also look at your dashboard, and then the dashboard will update. So there are different ways to do so. So I think this is something, and right now we answered all your questions. So thank you once more for your attention, and I hope you have a really good insight now of our solution. And if you want to have an even deeper and closer look, we are more than happy to do a one-on-one with you to make improvement calls and stuff, how we call that. So if you are interested, please let us know. Please write us at sales@hubdrive.com, and we will get in contact, and we will make an appointment, and we can answer your questions or your demands for your company, for example. In the after this webinar, we will send you an email where you have the recording of the webinar, but you will also have a form where we ask for your feedback so that we can improve. And of course, there we also link you or give you links where you can reach out to us and get in contact to us. We will be happy to do so. Okay. That's it for today. Thank you, everybody, once again for joining.